I'll now declare the meeting opened, and welcome to our home guests and everyone present. At this time, I would just like to, on behalf of all the taxpayers in the town of Essex, thank each and every one of the candidates who put their name forward to run for office in our municipality. Thank you all very much, and to the successful candidates, congratulations, and we will see you shortly at our table here. So thank you very much, all of you. Any conflicts of interest amongst the council members? Thank you very much. I will add that Councillor Vokes is not here, and neither is our youth member, Olivia Bernarth. They may come in shortly, though, hopefully. And Councillor Bondi, you have an addition to tonight's agenda? Oh, okay. Okay, we're looking for adoption of published agenda for Monday, November the 3rd. Councillor Scott, Councillor Bowman. Any additions? Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to ask for council support in resolution to support the obstetrical unit at Leamington Hospital when the time is appropriate. A letter of support.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any additions? That's her. Okay. All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Looking for the adoption of the minutes for October the 20th, 2014 regular council meeting. Deputy Mayor Malash, supported by Councillor Bowman. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Reports from administration, Community Services Department report number 2014-027, renewal agreement with the Essex 73 Hockey Club for sign advertising at the Essex Center Sports Complex, by law number 1366. Moved by Councillor Bowman, supported by Councillor Bondi. Any questions to the motion? Deputy Mayor Malash.
Through you, Your Worship, to Doug. Is this contract exactly the same as the one that we've had in the past? And do we have any similar contracts with any organization in Harrow?
Through Your Worship, it's similar to what they've had in the past, because the rates since the new twin pad is the one they've been using. And earlier this year, we did approve for Harrow Minor Hockey to do the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion? Motion carried. I'd just like to add we have a visitor. Deputy Mayor Tamara Stomp just came in from Kingsville. Welcome, Tamara. B, Community Services Report number 2014-028, Toronto 2015 Pan Am Games Torch Relay, with a recommendation. Moved by Councillor Baker, supported by Councillor Scott. Any questions? I just have one. I got this report, but I don't know if they asked us for anyone to run the torch. Did they, Cheryl, in that? If I may. Oh, Doug.
Through Your Worship, on their website, people can submit their name, or municipalities can submit names as well. So it is on the Pan Am Games website for torchbearers.
Okay, thank you, sir. All in favor of that motion? Motion carries. Corporate Services, Finance and Business Service Report 2014-02, Tangible Capital Asset Policy, with recommendations. Moved by Councillor Baker, supported by Councillor Bowman. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. D, Community Service Report number 2014-029, replacement of heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, Unit 1 located on the lower roof of the Harrow, Ontario Provincial Police Detachment, with recommendations. Councillor Bondi moves, supported by Councillor Baker. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Planning Department Report Number 2014-47, Site Plan Control Amendment, SPC-08-14, with recommendations.
Move the recommendations.
Councilor Baker moves, supported by Councilor Scott. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Planning Department Report Number 2014-48, Site Plan Control Amendment, Cooper's Hawk Winery.
Move the recommendation.
Councilor Baker, Councilor Bondi. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Correspondence, Windsor Essex County Environment Committee, October the 2nd, 2014. Yes, ma'am. Councilor Bondi, supported by Councilor Bowman. Councilor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I noticed under the subcommittee reports that there is a discussion on the coal tar sealant for paved and parking lot maintenance. Just wondering if, through your worship, if our Director of Infrastructure has any information on whether we use this product in Essex.
Through your worship, not at this time, but I can report back to council if you wish.
I think it would be a great idea. I love the Windsor Essex County Environment Committee minutes, and every time I see something in there that pops a red flag, I think we should look at it, because that committee is there for a reason. So I would appreciate it, Chris, if you can. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. B, Community Living, Essex County, Jingle Bell Run, road closure for Talbot Street North. This Sunday, that is, by the way. Councilor Scott moves and supported by Deputy Mayor Malash. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Committee meeting minutes. Committee of Adjustment, August 12, 2014. Councilor Baker moves, supported by Councilor Scott. Any questions? I do have one. Just heads up for maybe the future council members. We've changed some of the wording in the way this comes to us before it goes to Committee of Adjustment. And in this evenings, I have a problem with, I don't have a problem receiving it, but I have a problem receiving it and adopting it, because as far as I'm concerned, and many others, these minutes didn't follow, the committee didn't follow our bylaws. One being, if you look at the minor variance, it has all to do with minor variance. Now, I know the Committee of Adjustment, we can't do anything about it unless it goes to OMB, which we didn't do in the time frame. But I cannot see any committee having more power than this body sitting around the chair right now. And this committee does. And I probably should have checked, and I may have and forgot, having talked with our CAO, whether this is our rule or it's a provincial rule. But I cannot see any committee having more authority than we do. So anyways, I think we need to look at this committee especially, the way it's put together, maybe too many council members on it, maybe not, but I can receive this, but I cannot go along with adopting it, and I don't know what I would do, just turn it down, I guess, is what I'll have to do, because according to our rules, these people didn't do what we put them in that position to do, and we have no recourse other than go to the OMB, which is, like I said, past time. So we have it. If there's no other questions, I will ask for the motion. No other questions? All in favor of the motion? Opposed? Be recorded as opposed, please. Thank you. Mayoral Committee, September the 25th, 2014. Councilor Bowman moves, and support. Any questions to the motion? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Bylaws, bylaw number 1368, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the November 3rd, 2014 regular meeting of the Council of Corporation of the Town of Essex. Councilor Scott moves. Deputy Mayor Malas supports. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carried. Financial 2014 operating report, September 30th, 2014. Deputy Mayor Malas motion to receive, and Councilor Bowman support. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. New business, Councilor Bondi. Go to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before I present a motion, I was wondering in asking council if they would support allowing Deputy Mayor Stomp from Kingsville to talk, because it's a women's health issue, and it's a file that her and I have been working on. So can I make a motion that Tamara Stomp address council, please?
Have a motion and supported by Councilor Scott. Any questions to the motion? All in favor? Motion carries. Welcome, Tamara.
Thank you very much. Thank you for allowing me to speak on this issue. As you can see, I'm bored already. So I'm going to ask that Kim hand out these motions, this document that I prepared, so that you can follow along with what I'm asking you to help with tonight. As you know, the newspaper has documented the Board of Directors meeting at the Leamington District Memorial Hospital that is making a request of the Essex St. Clair Lynn to close the obstetrics unit. It says that it is being closed for all normal circumstance deliveries, and that the sole reason is to save operating funds. This is a budget decision. I'm here to speak against that from the information that I've been able to gather in the last number of days. As you know, that announcement was made, I think, approximately last Wednesday. And as a result of that, there is a hue and cry from a number of women across the county, and especially in the locale of the Leamington Hospital, that are very concerned about this cut in service. First of all, I'd ask you to note that from an emotional point of view, practical point of view, there's a concern. Most women are wondering how they're going to hold themselves steady, making the 40-minute trip to Windsor to a hospital. Can you imagine a woman in labor, prepared to give birth, wanting to stop at every Tim Hortons along the way for free washroom services? Or simply having a very rocky ride, that distance, that length of time, covering stop signs, stoplights, county roads, rural roads, and all the way into the city. There's apparently a $2,500 petition already signed between Friday morning and now, and the goal is to obtain 5,000 signatures. It's already halfway there, and maybe more as I'm now speaking. There will be meetings later this week. I'm also hoping to present this to the County Council on Wednesday night, and we'll ask two of you that are sitting here to support me in putting that on the agenda. So many women would also be concerned about going to Windsor if they wanted to have their spouses, partners, perhaps extended family members making the trip up there, and of course the children to come and see them. They also know that what is going to be left in this region of the Leamington Hospital is for all regular prenatal care. It was very specific in the release that other prenatal care would still exist in cooperation with the hospital in Windsor. Well, that just means then that you have all your prenatal care in Leamington, and at the very last moment, when you're relying upon the relationships that you have made with doctors or nurses or healthcare providers, you're then taken at the most critical point of time to Windsor to see people that you don't know, to have care providers that you're not familiar with to go to a hospital, that you don't go to on a regular basis to see your family members when they're there or to have your children cared for later. All of those can be emotional reasons. Obviously, they're personal reasons, they're practical reasons. So what I'm here especially to ask you to consider is that there is an economic reason for keeping the hospital with OB services. And that's something that as counselors we listen to a lot. Many times we've gone to programs and listened to portfolios about what is happening to the dynamic structure of our communities. One thing is that a community, according to us as municipal councilors, we try to provide services. Well, one of the pieces of that service we're providing, along with streets, roads, sewers, police, and fire, is also health care. The other service inside that health care is to deliver babies, because babies are the lifeblood of our communities. So what you're essentially sending is a message that you can afford all these other services for when those children are born, but you can't afford to cover them for the health of the child and the health of the mother in the most critical moment. Most importantly, though, it is a signal to women that if they wanted to come and live in this community, that we cannot help you if you wish to bear children or are your childbearing age. The replay of the meeting, the presentation that I saw at the hospital by Mr. Shields, the CAO, was heavy on statistics of how our area is becoming a seniors haven, and the seniors need services. But it is also not correct that we should be putting all our eggs in one basket, so to speak, that the population that you service is only seniors. It includes children, and that is why we are ensuring that we have children's services, we have make sure our arenas have space for children. So we're talking about the beginning, which we're taking away from them, and we're taking away that service which is the basic of the start of the health of the mother and the health of the child. So it's an economic development imperative that we keep obstetric services in the area. The area includes Wheatley, it includes Leamington, it includes Kingsville, and I'm not sure how much more it does, but maybe those statistics are not as full as they should be. Also, there are currently being a number of proposals, alternate proposals, that are being suggested. But this is saving $700,000, says the hospital board of directors, and I'm not sure that that whole issue has been canvassed completely. What I have before you is prepared, and very quickly I did, so I apologize for any wording if you would like to reassess it. But I think it sets out very carefully, and I'd like to read it, that whereas the Board of Directors of Leamington District Hospital has voted to request the Essex St. Clair Lynn for permission to cease offering normal circumstance deliveries to save operating funds, and whereas there is already a petition of 2,500 signatures having been circulated since October 31, 2014, voicing opposition to this cut in services, and whereas the importance of having local, accessible, time-relevant birthing services for normal as well as other deliveries is in the best interests of women who are or will bear children in the geographic area of the Leamington District Memorial Hospital in the future. And whereas a birthing experience that is safe and accessible to the pregnant mother, as well as their child or children, their other children, spouses, partners, and extended family members, is paramount to the start of the child's life and to the health of the mother. And whereas it is important to the community that residents be able to access family health services within their own community, I ask that you please consider a motion that says, now therefore the Council of the Town of Essex requests, 1, the Board of Directors of the Leamington District Memorial Hospital rescind their request to cease OB services, and or 2, the Essex St. Clair Lynn maintain the OB services at the LDMH, And further, number 3, that the LDMH and ESC Lynn seek alternative solutions to budget cuts without sacrificing OB services in the area. Thank you.
When the time is right, I'd like to move that motion.
Councillor Vokes?
Thank you, Your Worship, and I'll certainly be seconding that motion without a doubt. And here we are again, just in a position where the people at the top don't care less about the people at the bottom. And the reality is I would like to suggest that the administrative people at the hospital surrender 10% of their yearly earnings to put towards the care needed to deliver these babies and take some of that financial burden on. It's just simply another operating cost that's downloaded onto the needy to recover. And secondly, on top of that, I would like to know if you have that petition here, because I would like to sign it. If it's here, I'll definitely sign it before you leave tonight. And I want somebody to ask the administration of Leamington Hospital if they have a willingness to surrender 10% of their wages to put back to this care to make sure that provision is given. But I'll sign that petition if you have it here, and I will be seconding that motion.
Councillor Baker?
Thank you, Your Worship. Obviously, I won't be voting on this. Personally, I do support this, though, but I won't be voting on this because of my responsibilities with the hospital. Just a bit of housekeeping for you, that it's actually referred to as the Erie St. Clair and not the Essex St. Clair, so you want to change that wording in there. And then your third, therefore, the third one says that the LDM and ESCO, it should be Erie St. Clair, ESC, period, Lynn. That's just some housekeeping, so, but I will not be voting on this, but I champion you for that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further comment? Councillor Bowman?
I would think it's probably not wise on their part, because with the mega hospital coming in the future, it'll probably change the makeup of the hospital situation across the county anyway. So you would think they would wait at least until that point before they even would consider making a decision. So I would support the motion.
Thank you, sir. Anyone further? Okay, Councillor Bondi.
I move the resolution with the corrections.
And I'll second.
Supported by Councillor Vokes. Anything further to the motion? Councillor Baker, thank you very much, sir. All in favor of the motion? Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tamara. Thank you very much. Where are we at? Oh. One subject left. Councillor Bowman, Councillor Baker, supports for adjournment. Oh.
I have a question to the clerk, if I may.
Okay.
The council-elect is meeting this Thursday at 4:30. Is that a public meeting or is that a private meeting?
Through your worship, that is a closed meeting because it's due to educational and training purposes.
Okay, so it's not open to the public?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Councillor Vokes.
If I could too, Your Worship, I was going to ask just for one moment of time. When we meet on those committees Thursday night, I want administration, if they could, to have the discussions amongst themselves whether or not it's worthy to have we have a police committee, we have a communities in bloom. We don't have a fireman's committee, and we should. There's no committee in structure that anybody that relates to the fire department or decisions of the fire department where it's a collective decision based on a committee deciding. So we should have a fireman's committee. But I'll let administration, if you meet as a corporation, to discuss that, and if there's worthiness to it, to share it with council.
CEO, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you, through you, Your Worship. Certainly, we can take that under consideration, and we'll have a discussion on it. Thursday's sessions are really intended for orientation of existing and new council in terms of policies, procedure, not so much committee structures, although that's been on our agenda. I will certainly take a look at that and report back.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Thanks.
Okay, one final thing. I see a couple of gentlemen sitting around the table here. Sorry to excuse you ladies, but it is Movember. I just noticed, you know, it's Movember time, so way to go, gentlemen. Oh, Russ couldn't afford the razor blades. All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Have a good evening, everyone.